What's going on, guys? Stock Scrubby here, back again with another video, and I'm gonna be honest, today was probably one of the more confusing days I've ever seen in the stock market. Stocks went really down and then they came back up, and it was a bizarre day. Regardless, let's talk about it.
I'm getting quiet now, laying low when you reach, so I'm piping down, making out, stack the bread.
Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I've never really seen anything like today happen. I've seen crazy drops, I'm not trying to say I'm some old timer here, but like when COVID happened, the stock market kind of took a beating. That being said, today looked like another one of those days where, everything's in the red, there's not much good going on, and then out of nowhere it had the comeback of the century. Stock market mounts stunning comeback on Monday, with Dow closing in the green after earlier 1,000-point loss. Alright, so, obviously, whenever we're usually talking about things on this channel, I'll say at the end of the day, like, oh, this or that is up 0.5%, 0.4%, that's pretty standard. At one point today, there was an index, the NASDAQ, down 5%, right? It ended up being up on the day, but that's how absolutely bonkers it was. 1,000-point dip and a comeback. My goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen. I really feel like we're living in the 20s. Stocks mounted a dramatic comeback on Monday as investors stepped in to buy beaten-up tech shares following a sharp sell-off earlier in the day. The Dow Jones closed up 100 points, or 0.3%, at 34,364. Gaining for the first day out of the last 7, the S&P 500 finished a bit higher and the NASDAQ did as well, and even the Russell 2000 small cap shares were up on the day. All of the major indexes ended up being up, but yeah, earlier in the day, man, it was a slaughter, dude. It reminded me of somebody that's just really down in the dumps, not feeling too hot about the future. All of a sudden, Roar by Katy Perry comes on and you're ready to take back the day. That's basically what these stocks ended up doing, alright? Roar by Katy Perry, except, everybody was like, oh, today's awful. What I will say that's nuts about today's comeback, though, is sure, we ended up being positive on the day, but last week still did suck. Like, if you pull up a year chart, stocks aren't necessarily incredible compared to where they were a year ago. A lot of them anyways, but that being said, it definitely could have gotten a lot worse. I think if today would have ended down like 4 or 5% on most of the major indexes, stock market would have gone crash very quickly. That's what I truly think would have gone down, in my personal opinion. But, none of this is financial advice. I'm an idiot talking over Fortnite gameplay. So, right here is the chart from the Dow Industrial chart. This is the last couple days. As you can see, it was trending down. Today, dropped off a cliff, and then it looks like, the end of the world, Great Depression 2.0, get ready for breadlines. All of a sudden, it's your chance, do your dance, it's the Space Jam, boom, right back. Truthfully, this is just one of those things that I think will always just be a weird day, when someone's like, you ever been in the stock market? I'll put out my cigarette, I'm gonna tell you a story of the time every component, NASDAQ, Dow Jones, S&P 500, every index was slaughtered. Everybody was like, oh, it's the Great Recession. Next thing you know, we ended the day up. You don't know pain till you seen your stocks drop 12% and come back on the day. Seriously, there was some stocks I watched that plummeted 15% off rip and then ended up down 1% on the day. So hypothetically, if you were lucky enough to buy at the bottom of that, quick little 14% gainer just for it to go back to where it was before. Obviously, that's a very risky game. It's basically a casino. I don't recommend that, no financial advice here. But it's insane to think about how much volatility that really is. You got to think about there's trillions of dollars in the stock market. So 6% is like billions of dollars. It's not a small amount. Like I said, though, even though today was a pretty impressive comeback, overall, a lot of stocks are still very far down from their all-time highs. Short sellers are up $114 billion this year, with winning bets against Tesla and Netflix. For those of you that don't know what a short seller is, you can do this type of, basically it's a bet on the stock market about whether a stock price is going to go up or down. If you're right, you make a crap ton of money. If you're wrong, you tend to lose a crap ton of money. But, a lot of people had made bets that we were in a bit of a bubble in the fact that Tesla and Netflix shares were overpriced, and if it went down, they'd make a crap ton. Obviously, even with today considered, a lot of stocks are still very far down to the point where people making these bets have made a cool 114 billion, definitely nothing too shabby there, I would take that. If anyone has an extra 114 billion they don't want, feel free to let me know in the comments, I'll take it. Stocks are down overall this year, it hasn't been off to the greatest start, but that being said, crypto has been getting absolutely hammered. I think Bitcoin is close to 50% off from all-time highs now. Or at least it was at some point today. As I said, today was pretty nuts. Crypto was no exception to that. They also had a lot of volatility. Bitcoin climbs into positive territory after falling below $33,000 to a new low. Obviously, at one point, Bitcoin was over $60,000 per coin. At some point earlier today, I saw it below 33,000, so almost 50% off of all-time highs. As of the time of making this, it's gone back up to about 36,000, that's subject to change. Unlike stock markets, Bitcoin prices can move 24/7. I don't know. I do think we are definitely in the beginning of the bubble popping. I don't know if today was a little bit of a rebound, if like the 10-15% we seem to be down is enough to call it a correction. I don't know if Bitcoin's going to go on another tear or not, but one thing that I will say is that I think the bubble that people are talking about definitely has started to pop. You can't look at crypto shaving off, almost $1 trillion in market cap and still say the bubble's as big. Sure, it might be still there a little bit, but it's definitely nowhere near the size it was. And I'm no financial expert. Obviously, I could be insanely wrong. That's why you should not take this as advice, because I'm no expert, bro. Predicting financial markets is a lot like predicting sports. If I was really an expert, I wouldn't be making YouTube videos, I'd be out in Wall Street making 50 billion. That being said, I think the fact that a lot of stocks are significantly off their all-time high isn't necessarily bad for the health of the stock market. Things can't go up forever. It just is what it is. It's not the nature of investments. Bitcoin climbed into positive territory after falling below $33,000. The number one cryptocurrency and Ethereum are sitting 45 and 49% off their all-time highs, and the steep declines have correlated to the selling seen in higher risk assets, like technology stocks, as investors prepare for higher interest rates and tighter monetary policy from the Federal Reserve. I think in another video earlier this week, I talked about how it tends to be when interest rates get raised that risky investments tend to be the ones pulled off the table first. I think that's a lot of what we're seeing here. It's not that Bitcoin and Ethereum in the future are necessarily horrible, it's just that in the current time, if you're already up significantly, which Bitcoin and Ethereum had a great year last year, and that there's about to be an interest rate raising, that, prices are going up, cash might be a little bit more handy right now when it comes to buying a house or anything like that. Stuff that you tend to be a little bit more focused on when borrowing money gets a little riskier, then these assets tend to get punched the hardest first. And cryptocurrency, all things considered, definitely is the riskiest asset. I know a lot of people are passionate about it. I'm not, blaming you. I don't think you suck. Let's just be honest here. It's a lot more risky to own Bitcoin than it is to own a piece of Coca-Cola. Obviously, because I can see Coca-Cola, it's selling stuff now, it's giving me a dividend. Sure, in the future, Bitcoin may be worth $1 million. That's fair. I don't know that. I do know that Coke will still be selling Coke in 5 years, though. I think that's why cryptocurrency, a lot of these technology stocks that maybe don't have a crap ton of revenue currently are being hit the hardest, just because as the cycle tends to come to an end, as all economic cycles do, it just doesn't make sense to keep your money parked in super risky assets because those tend to be the things hardest hit. And so it kind of creates this self-fulfilling prophecy where as they dip, and it goes down, people are like, crap, I don't want to be the last one out. And, not too great for the price of stuff that's very risky in the short term. But, overall today was pretty nuts. It was pretty interesting to watch. Hopefully y'all feel up to date on the situation. If you enjoyed, I'd appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. And of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on notifications. I'd really appreciate it. If you don't mind leaving a comment, these videos tend to not do that hot, so I'd appreciate any help I can get. Other than that, though, a link to the intro songs in the description, along with the link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. Or, of course, you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. Great way to get a discount on G Fuel. Help me out at the same time. I'd appreciate it. And, yeah, on that note, the last link down in the description is a link to the merch store. But other than that, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out.